What's up, y'all? It's T-Tar, and today we're looking at more of y'all's theories for Pokemon in 2022. Let's go. Third DLC idea. Hey T-Tar, I love the vids. My idea of a third DLC is the Dragon Castle myth that Terrapagus is based off. The Dragon Palace. Ku even asked in a riddle where it is located. Hold on a sec. So I'm gonna put it on screen right now. This is one of the things Ku tweeted. The Dragon Palace, what would it be? And as of beating the Indigo disc, it never did show up anywhere. I've said this myth so many times. The Dragon King Palace has to do with the time-traveling turtle and where it actually lives. It's in this timeless place that if you stay too long, time will pass very fast on the outside world. That's the Dragon King's palace. He tweeted that before the Indigo disc came out, and now that it's out, we did discover there's something beneath Area 0, but it's just the underdepths, and it's nothing magical at all. All it is this giant fissure when Terrapagus fell in there a long time ago. It has nothing to do with this like magical place where time moves differently. My idea is with the new Scarlet and Violet book that you get and Terrapagus in your party, you're able to use the time machine and travel to this cool looking castle where you meet the ancient people that were once in Area 0. Wow. You know, these were the thoughts going on before the Indigo disc came out. Actually being able to meet people on the other side of all those ancient stuff we see in Area 0. The people responsible for the tablet, responsible for the grassy pattern. These are unanswered mysteries. You can talk to these ancient people and they'll tell you all about the ancient Terrapagus and how they vanished. You'll see the Paradox Pokemon from your game there, fossil Pokemon, and old Pokemon like Volcarona and Arcanine. Fossil Pokemon's a bit of a debate. We don't know if that's actually what they're supposed to look like. You get to meet the AI professors in the castle and they could have a sort of battle tree there. So you're saying more of like an Isle of Armor DLC where it's not an overall story, it's just us chilling on this island having fun. Now the rules of time moving slowly doesn't apply to you since Terrapagus is on your team, so you can't take the AI professor back to Paldia. Okay, so only you have this magical aura and you can go in there. That is crazy. Now, a couple thoughts on this. I don't think the AI professor would need to be revisited because the game does something cool with giving us a final look at the AIs going to the past and future and then being able to see the professor before their craziness. So I think we're done with the professors, but the overall idea of a third DLC being in the Dragon King Palace, especially pairing this with Ku's tweet, is a really cool idea. Now, I said this in a previous video, where I stand on there being a third DLC is that it seems unlikely because they had a lead to doing this, which was the epilogue. They could have just made that the DLC, but maybe Game Freak is super ambitious and they had so many ideas that they epilogued the Indigo disc with that and they have one more DLC for us. Again, remember, the reason we're talking about a third DLC is to see how Game Freak will pull off stalling until the next console. It depends if they need more time to figure out this new console or if they can do it straight away. Possible third DLC and Time Machine. Hey, you know, I guess this is a third DLC video. So I recently watched your newest vid on the possibilities of a third DLC and how it makes sense due to getting the book and not being able to go back to the Time Machine room as if it was originally going to be able to happen. So what if with all the Unova hints and, you know, going to Unova, it was going to be that you were going to bring Ingo back from Hisui? You would have an encounter or meetup with Emmett while in Blueberry, maybe in Chargestone Cave's equivalent since of the Joltics and being reminiscent of Unova very well there. And then you go back to Hisui to bring Ingo back. Okay, I see it. Us just going to get Ingo would be weird because we don't even know who Ingo is. But considering Blueberry is in Unova, maybe Emmett was hanging around and there's supposed to be a small event and something somehow leads him to knowing about the time machine and going with you back in time to get him. Of course, we know that's not necessarily how the time machine works. You never know though, right? Now that we have Terrapagus in our party, we've reached a level of power that even the original professors couldn't deal with, right? So maybe having Terrapagus in your party would allow you to use the time machine more freely and you could actually go back and get him. Only weird thing is like both Scarlet and Violet taking the time machine to the past is kind of weird. Potential third DLC. Hey T-Tar, I just watched your video and something caught my attention. You said that Game Freak kind of blew their chance to make a third DLC because they decided to call the event coming out January 11th the Epilogue. But I think you have to read it closer. It specifically says that it's the Hidden Treasures of Area 0 epilogue, not the epilogue to Scarlet and Violet as a whole. So they're saying we can make a different DLC after the Hidden Treasures of Area 0, and so the epilogue wouldn't mean anything. But that's not what I was talking about in that video. You see, there was no need for them to make that epilogue because that epilogue is pretty well made. It's actually weird that they put that in the Indigo disc update. They really should have saved it for a separate update on January 11th. And you gotta think, if they're trying to make time constraints for the Indigo disc, well, clearly Game Freak has other projects that they gotta get to. It's weird that they put all that attention to the Indigo disc. If there really was a third DLC, you would think they would just use the lead that the epilogue was, everyone coming back to Kitakami, as the third DLC and just made it bigger and then sold it sometime in February or June this year. But listen, I'll take your side of this. I would want there to be a third DLC. Okay, then he has another idea saying maybe there's one more adventure after the Hidden Treasures package where we at the end up giving the book back to Sada and Toro. And so that's how the paradox undoes itself. Unova as the third Scarlet and Violet DLC. Hey, it was the second. Hey teacher, I had a pretty wild idea about a potential third DLC for Scarlet and Violet. The games could generally be considered completed as of now, but there's a few things that could be answered or further explored. I feel that just by enabling us to use the time machine in this supposed third DLC, there's a lot of possibilities that open up to us. However, there's one in particular I'd like to see. The more I think about how they locked us out after giving us the key, it's so cemented that something was supposed to happen. Only question is, will they ever give it to us? It definitely is a pure perfect opportunity for the third DLC. Blueberry Academy, the second DLC, also caps out around level 88. So if there was a massive third DLC, massive as in the levels would be insane, you still got levels to work with. It could go up to like level 95, you know? Given that we have reason to expect games revisiting Unova, I thought of something. What if instead of new games, this next DLC is what allows us to properly explore Unova? This would be more of a massive expansion kind of deal rather than a relatively small scale DLC we've had before. It would be similar in size to a full new game, albeit a bit smaller since we wouldn't need to start from scratch with our Pokemon and take on the gyms and whatnot. Okay, listen, you're on fire with this idea, but it wouldn't work for their profits. If they're gonna design the whole Unova region, they'd make the most money by just making it its own game. But the way they would do this is what I said a couple videos ago, where they just allow you to go to Liberty Island. That's it. A full Unova DLC would be badass though. I like the way you were thinking with that. Unfortunately though, Game Freak gotta take making the most money possible into account. So unfortunately, some fun ideas like this would have to take a hit for that. Anyhow, my dudes, it is January 11th, the release of the final Scarlet and Violet Epilogue DLC. We're gonna be starting it like freaking 30 minutes after this video goes up. So tune back in. Make sure y'all shank that like button. We got 7 weeks until Pokemon Day. And I want to go back to the first idea we talked about in this video. That whole Dragon King's Palace as the focus of any potential revisit to Scarlet and Violet, aka the third DLC, lining up pretty well with that cool tweet. So let's see what plays out. Anyhow, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.